previous video when I was still futzing with technical issues, and it seems like it's working a lot better, so that's good. Alright, I'm just gonna play a quick game against beginner bots, waffle stomp them as usual. Let's see how that goes. Mute my own stream before I get feedback.
I'm no hero, just a yordle with a hammer.
So we got Poppy here, tanky masteries with my 80, tanky 80 runes. 80 marks, quints, armor seals, MR per level glyphs. It's really pretty great for most 80 champions. Masteries is strength of ages, is the keystone on the defensive end. I think it's, I'm not sure if it's 6-6-18 or 12-0-18 or what. I have to go check. Yeah, strength of ages in it, which is such a good keystone. 300 health? Yes, please. I mean, that's 2 free ruby crystals once you get that stacked up, and that usually happens by like 20 minutes in the game, or 15, depending on how good your farm is and whether you're jungling or not. Like, it's actually easier to stack as a jungler, I think, because every one of the main jungle creeps gives you 10, and there are 6 camps, whereas a laner has 1 cannon creep every 3 waves, and it's not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to get it. You might miss the last hit, you might get harassed, you might not be in lane when it dies. You know, there's bound to be some missed opportunities there. So, when you're jungling, you can actually stack it up even faster. Though, jungle or lane, it will stack up eventually, and it usually doesn't take too long unless you keep missing the last hits on cannon creeps for some reason. That happened before. I'm just like, why am I bad at last hitting? Poppy, since the rework, is pretty exciting. I actually played her PvP for the first time on stream over a month ago now, several months ago. And she'd been reworked like all of a week before then or something. I was just like, wow, this champ is kind of ridiculous. I think they've nerfed her a little since then. Like, she seems to be a little less ridiculous, which is good. She was a bit ridiculous. Like, I ended up, I think, crushing an Aatrox in lane, which I was not expecting at all. Alright, what do I want to build? Yeah. I feel like rushing the nerfed Titanic Hydra to see how it feels now. I like that they changed up Tiamat to have the cleave passive again. I missed it not having that.
Well, yeah.
So we'll just go Longsword 3. Let's see. So we have someone jungling.
Heard a lot about this hero with a hammer. Can't wait to meet him.
Little does she know she's the hero of this story. Hero we deserve, not the hero we need. Alright, Trundle appears to be disconnected, and this Zed is just standing here. I'm gonna go top then. Zed can go 1v2 bottom if he wants. Yeah. Plus 25 AD because I started longsword. It's 40 plus 20, 6% enemies max health, 20% slow inside the zone. Yeah, Trundle's coming over to ya.
Oh, you like to fight? So does my hammer.
And not getting a leash as a jungler just kind of sucks. It really does.
Make my hammer mad.
It's not the worst thing in the world. I personally don't like starting at Krugs or Toad. I prefer to start at the buff camp. If you get a decent leash, it's actually more efficient. You can clear 3 camps and gank with both buffs quicker than if you do the other route, and with more health. Nah, I won that trade pretty hard because I had the shield up when I initiated it. That's the thing that surprises me about her shield, is how long it lasts. Like, that's one of the things, if they think she's too strong still, that I would suggest that they nerf, is how long that shield lasts.
Some things are too important to give up on.
Both of them here. Ignite that, flash auto, first blood.
Okay,
It's really easy to practice stuff like that against the AI, but it's a lot harder to do against actual players that will, try to make that difficult. Like, they'll flash in response or anticipatorily, expecting you to flash onto them and try that. The AI is basically clueless about that sort of stuff. That was a mistake.
Yep, it's even heavier than it looks.
Yeah, I made that real easy.
Careful, this pack's strong.
That's one of the great things about her E, is you can combo the stun into guaranteeing both hits of your Q if you're quick enough.
Who knew there were so many heroes?
Which is a lot of damage if you get both hits. It's rank 265, and 6% of the enemy's max health twice, so it's really 130 and 12% of their max health. And it's plus 40 from having 25 bonus AD, or 90 total. I'm low on mana. I shouldn't have pressed W there, I should have just E'd him into the wall. Speaking of him being against walls, if he stays there, looks like he's being smart and running away. Oh, hey, that. Look how her hammer is like bigger than she is. It's so ridiculous and over the top. Yes, I got it. See what I mean about missing the Canic Reblast, so I wasn't really trying to last hit it there. I don't usually bother in AI games. More fun to farm the AI. So I actually end up with less stacks and Strength of Ages than I normally would. Oof, yeah. Good damage. So, I have enough mana to get, like, her mana regen is decent, and her costs are pretty low, so you can get enough mana to have an ability ready pretty quickly, even if you're totally but you can't spam, and her E is what's expensive, and her ult, of course. So they're usually expensive unless they're spammable. Even then, they probably ain't cheap. I'm making a mistake here. Yeah, I thought the minions would cover the turret a little longer. And if they had, I would have been fine, but no. It just didn't last long, so I got shot a second time by the turret, and that was enough damage.
One thing about me, I'm not good at staying down. I'm in 100%.
Rampage.
That's everything, right?
Oh, Poppy. She's like chaotic good, accidentally does the right thing, and it's like, oh, I guess that was the right thing to do.
I sure do a lot of
He's set
walking.
up here now. Maybe because Trundle's really fed. He wants kills. Greedy assassin is
Sorry
greedy.
about this.
That was for you, bud.
Hold it right there.
Well, he got one of them at least. I went and tanked turret for you, bro. You should have got that. Yeah, I'm giving him a hard time. He probably wasn't expecting me to just initiate under turret like that. But I'm like, I'm Poppy, I'm tanky enough to do this. There we go. that one, so you know, it's plus 20 instead of plus 10 though. So getting 3 cannon creeps is like getting all 6 jungle camps as far as stacking up strength of ages. Bed's really heavy on that. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so glad I was actually in range to get that auto attack. I was so close to not being in range, and he had increased movement speed because I was really low, and he's Warwick, so he had this, you know, his E was on, and it was detecting me, so he saw me coming too. But I had enough range.
Yay, more stuff.
Alright. And Titanic Hydra probably isn't a good rush item, but I felt like building the new one to see what it feels like. Probably feels pretty nerfed. 15 AD gone from it is kind of a big deal, but it needed it. It was pretty ridiculous. Like, you'd have people build that plus a ton of defense and they'd actually do a lot of damage, which is what it was supposed to facilitate, but you also had champions that already had naturally pretty decent damage building it, and then building tanky, and then they're like 9 unkillable on top of doing a crap ton of damage.
Yes, I'm going
Good.
this way
So I
now.
got that, so. I think I'll actually go get a blue buff before I come back.
Killing spree.
I don't like mana costs. Or I don't like running out of mana and not being able to cast my shit. And 10 more health from Strength of Ages.
Dominating.
Yeah. Free auto shield on the last hit, the fact that it automatically returns to you is pretty nice.
Your team
So
has
already 203 because it's 15% of max health. That's really a pretty strong shield on top of having a long duration and having a fairly short cooldown. Oop, come on. Pathing. This game has had bad pathing throughout its history. Pathfinding, I should say.
executed. Killing spree.
Not dented.
Yeah, that actually probably still only saved me a little bit of health.
The hammer does most of the work.
Dominating. Double kill.
The passive works on the shield too. Yeah, it's bonus magic damage as well. So it's easy to last hit with.
Do it yourself.
It's actually a really good mechanic against ranged lane opponents. Like, you can pick Poppy into people like Teemo and stuff. Fortunately, the Penta was over here. If he'd actually come running over here, I'd have wanted to try and give him that. Because it's just the bro thing to do. Give your teammate the Penta, feel confident they can secure it. I generally wouldn't risk it in a real game though. Just make sure they die, you know.
Me? The hero?
Ah, that was abusive. Zed's burst. Get lost. Here, Tarek.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
Okay, that's here.
Double kill.
The hero likes me.
Do you like yourself? whole rest of the AI team showed up and were like, hi! I didn't have my flash or anything. Alright. Still more defense. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna get that. I like having an AoE around me that does constant damage. It's just a nice thing to do when you run into the middle of all the enemy team.
Shut down.
Let's try that again. Who knew there were so many heroes?
Oh. Yeah.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
She gets free resists passively, which means she has extra synergy with health, besides the fact that she also has that shield. So yeah, Poppy definitely favors health as a defensive stat over resistances to a modest extent. There are more extreme examples like Leona to an extent, and Rammus. Rammus is a much more extreme example. But he also has great synergy with armor in general.
100%. That's everything.
An enemy has been slain.
Yep. Heavier than a
What's attack speed there?
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Well, that was a good test. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down here in a moment and see what the stream looked like. Alright. Yeah, one kill below, one more death than the Zed. And Trundle did even better. Not surprised. Invalid map. Well, clearly there are a few bugs that made it through Q&A in patch 6.6. This would be one of them right here. No big deal. Yeah, I still did the second most damage to champions. Trouble is ridiculous. I took the second least, surprisingly. Yeah. So, that's that. I'll go ahead and stop the stream now.